Hi, in this short video I'm going to be talking about how to increase restaurant sales but without spending any money on advertising. And yes, that is possible. But what you're relying on is the power of focusing on your existing customers. It's much easier to get an existing customer, of course as long as they're happy, to spend more with you than it is to attract a new customer. So that's where this video will help you to increase your sales. But let's not just think about increasing sales. It's much more important to focus on increasing your profits. So how do we do that? Well, this video is only going to be focusing on one particular measure, one key profit driver. Don't worry about those terms, and it will all make sense by the end of the video. And in this particular video, I'm going to be talking about the average customer spend or average transaction value. What is that? Well, the average customer spend is the average amount of money that your customers spend with you each time they visit your restaurant, be it at lunchtime or be it in the evening. And the way you calculate that is to take a spend, it could be on one day, it could be over a week, a month, or 12 months. And in a minute, I'm going to be popping across to an example where actually the figures we're looking at is over a 12-month period. So you take a spend over a particular period, total, and you divide that by the number of transactions in that period. And what is a transaction? Well, for this purpose, a transaction is when one of your customers visits your restaurant. So when they're there, they may start off at the bar, and then they move to the table, and then they had their meal and so on. And the average spend, or the amount they spend with you, is the total amount they spend while they're in your restaurant. So that would become a transaction. So all you need to do is take all of your transactions, in other words, all of the customer visits that you have, and divide that number into your total sales, and then you get your average customer spend. So what we're going to look at is the impact of focusing on that average spend, and by increasing that by a small amount, the impact that has on the outcome and the significant increase that can, or effect that can have on your sales, but more importantly on your profits. So let me just switch across to I've got some figures to go through for a restaurant business, and then I'm going to put those into a very straightforward piece of software, and it will show you the power of focusing on this particular key profit driver, your average customer spend. So let me just switch across now. So in front of us now we have a summary of a restaurant business. And down the left-hand column are our current numbers, and in the right-hand column in green are our targeted numbers. Now, as I said, in this particular video, I'm only be focusing on one of those metrics. And in this case, it's the average customer spend, or put another way, your average transaction value. So just focusing on that, our average customer spend or average transaction value in our current set of numbers is £49.50. What we are going to be doing is we're going to be targeting £65. Just quickly, if we look down the current numbers, our current number of customers, average customer spend, times customer return, and so on, gives us a total sales revenue currently of £125,458. So let me just switch across to the increased profit software. On this summary, you will just see that all I've done is I've pre-populated all the sales, and at the top you'll see that I have the sales of 125,458 as I showed you on that summary beforehand. There's also the cost of sales for this particular restaurant, the overheads, and at this point in time the profitability of this restaurant is it's generating a profit of just over £23,000. All the other numbers below that, which are all the numbers that when multiplied up and worked together create those sales and those profits. And that's what we're going to be targeting, to increase our sales without spending any money on advertising. So let me just switch across to the workings. And you'll see at the top, we have our existing sales of 125,000 and our profits of just over 23,000. So as I said, all I'm going to be doing is looking at our average transaction value, which is presently £49.50, and I'm going to increase that to £65. Now, by increasing our average transaction value or our average customer spend, in this case, by just £15.50, which you may think is a lot, but there are ways in which you can do that, our sales have increased by just over 31%, by £39,000 to £164,000. But more importantly, our profits have more than doubled. So they've gone up by 23,767 to just under 50,000, or in this case, £47,000. So is that realistic to increase our average customer spend from £49.50 to £65? Well, the best way to answer that is to ask some valid questions. Involve your team, involve, as I already said, your customers, and work out ways that you could increase that number. For example, when your customers sit down at the table, when they order, ask them questions whether they would like additional side dishes with their meal. You are actually getting them to spend a little bit more than they would ordinarily if you hadn't introduced that. Another way of increasing their spend would be to group starters, mains and desserts together, so you can either have a combination of a starter and a main, or all three courses and so on. All of these little techniques go towards potentially increasing their average spend. There are many, many ways, and your restaurant may be different to others, but the best way to actually find ways to increase that is to have brainstorming sessions with your staff, and to hold perhaps an event with your customers. Invite them in, do a taster session, make it fun, introduce drinks and so on, so that they can come, and maybe even do wine tastings, so that you're engaging with them, they're enjoying the event. But at that event, make it specific that you're after their feedback of ways that they would be happy to spend more money with you. What is it they're looking for from a restaurant, but in particular from your restaurant? What is it that they would like to see on the menu? And what changes would they recommend? And really with the focus of increasing how much they spend with you each time they visit. So I hope that's been very useful for you, and you can now see that by changing or improving your average transaction value, or the average amount that your customers spend in your restaurant, can have a significant impact on your sales, but more importantly on your profits. Engage with your staff, but also, as I said, to engage with your customers, because they can give you some key feedback as to how you can improve your restaurant. I ran a customer advisory board on one of my businesses, and although this may seem an obvious way to increase your average customer spend, and that's by increasing your prices, but that's exactly what I got out of my customer engagement. I put on an event. Yes, it cost me a bit of money to do so, but it wasn't a huge amount of money, bearing in mind that you put on a bit of food and some drinks, which you've already got in your restaurant anyway. You could even turn it into some sort of taster session. But one nugget that I got out of that customer focus day was that they said that I wasn't charging enough. So they recommended that I actually put my prices up. So there might be all sorts of pieces of information that you can gain from your customers by holding an event like that. I don't know the type of food that your restaurant serves or your location, and every restaurant will be different. You'll have a different set of customers, but I guarantee you, by speaking to your customers, you'll find ways in which you can improve your service, improve or change or improve what you actually serve to your customers, because that's what they're requesting. And not only will you have happier customers, but the impact or the outcome of that will be that you would increase the average spend, which, as we've already seen, will increase your sales, but more importantly, increase your profits. So I hope that is giving you a bit of an insight on how you can increase your sales, but without spending a penny on advertising. Yes, there may be a few costs involved in doing this, but actually when you focus on your average transaction value, you'll be pleased to know that the costs of doing that are normally minimal. So some of the techniques to introduce, like encouraging your customers to spend a bit more with you when they're there, that actually doesn't cost any money. So I encourage you to focus on your average customer spend. Now, the program that I plug those numbers into is a program called Increased Profit Software, and that's available from our website, bowraven.com, and there's actually a link below that you could have a look at that and at least consider investing in that software. I will be doing more videos like this one because there are other ways of focusing on the inputs or the metrics that have an effect on the outcome, in this case sales and profits of your business. But I said that I only wanted to focus on one particular metric on this video to keep it shorter than to focusing on lots of different metrics. I would appreciate it if you can give us a thumbs up. That would be very much appreciated. But also please subscribe to our YouTube channel, because then you can keep an eye on other videos that come through of this type that can help you in your restaurant business. Thank you very much for listening, and like I say, to find out a little bit more, if you want to click on the link below, and I wish you all the luck. And also please do comment either on the comments below of this YouTube video or on our website to feedback either how well you've done, or perhaps you may have questions that we can help you with in order to help you grow your restaurant business, but without spending any money on advertising. Thank you very much, and bye for now.